Hi guys, it's the old bull here. Time for a fireside chat. Let's have a think through what's been going on. It's been an interesting couple of days. We've had a lot going on in the company. I woke up this morning to a massive list of questions and stuff in general chat, just talking about where we're at and what's going on. So I thought this would be a good opportune time to just talk through where Playable Games is, where I think the market is, and how we're moving forward from here. So the first part to start with is the market is taking longer than expected. So when I actually look at what's going on my screens, Bitcoin's doing a really good job. It's up nearly $40,000 in $30,000 in just over a month, but that hasn't affected altcoins very much. And that's the most frustrating thing, is that as altcoiners, as people that have their lives invested into a project like this, it can just get so discouraging when you see other coins going up and the one you're involved in isn't. Believe you me, I know this really well because I'm invested in multiple things other than Playable Games. And when only a couple of them are going up and most of them are going down, it is just highly frustrating. And you've just got to realize that we are not in altcoin season yet. Bitcoin is sucking all the air out of the room. Bitcoin is still massively dominant. So where Bitcoin dominance is right now, Bitcoin is the only game in town. And the rest of us, all the other altcoins, have to wait until this dominance rolls over. Now, if you follow Jason Pizzino and those guys, it's definitely heading the right way. Like, we're definitely on track. It's just taking longer. All right, so what we've done from a company point of view, I've had several investors, some of our really big investors. We've got people that have got very large sums of money, hundreds of thousands of US dollars invested in the company. And they've reached out, or a couple of them have reached out to me and said, hey, can you explain to me what we're doing, what our burn rate is, what our roadmap is, how long have you got? And their fear was that with 6 other competitor companies going broke in the last couple of weeks, their concern was, are we going to make it? And so the answer to that is that we are going to make it. We've got enough funds in reserve to keep the company going. But it has taken some strategic maneuvering to make that happen. And we've managed our money really well. We've got a very large sum of money saved. And the short end of the stick is that we're in a good position. What we have had to do, though, is streamline a couple of the teams to make sure that we're not under burden and we don't run out of funds before we get to November, December this year. So we've made those decisions. We've brought those teams down in size to make sure that we're not over budget and we can make it right through to the end of the year, even if we don't make another cent between now and then. Now, obviously, I don't believe that's going to be the case. I believe that the market is going to continue slowly ratcheting up, and at some point, Bitcoin will get high enough where the alts will just start following up. And we've seen that a couple of times, but the last real time it happened was November last year. All right, so our concentration right now is to put DAO, so Dogs of War, and War of Steel into open alpha for our community. So that means if investors come into our community, they're VI3 or they're a node owner, they can go into those 2 alphas and run around and play them. And the idea of that is that investors want to know that we're building something, we're actually on top of something, and we actually know what we're doing, and we're not just all talk and nothing happening. Too many crypto companies talk about what they're going to do. It's all promises and it's all, oh yeah, we can do it, but they never do it. What we're trying to prove is categorically we can do it. We can produce a game. We can make things happen. And so Dogs of War and War of Steel are to give you a glimpse into the future of what those games are going to be. They're big games. They're really big games. Dogs of War is a 10-year game to build by the time that's finished. But the alpha we've got out already shows you the sort of size of it, the feeling of it, what it's going to look and feel like, and what it's going to be like to play. And we're going to add little things to that as time goes by. So my goal with Dogs of War is we're going to build out like fishing, for example, and then we'll release that into the alpha. So you can go in and you can practice fishing, you can catch some fish. And then next month we'll add in cooking and starting fires and chopping down wood. And then you'll be able to go in and do those things. So we'll slowly build the game over time, and we'll just keep adding to the alpha until we get to a stage where we think we've got enough to actually launch it into beta. So War of Steel is looking really, really good. The team has done such a good job with it, and we should have that in alpha by the end of this week. It's going to be a multiplayer alpha where you can run around, try the mechs, feel the whole game. It's a battle royale, and I'm very impressed. As I said, the team has done really well. It looks great. And again, it's going to work so well to help us show people what we can actually achieve when we get to this next level of funding, when we come through. So our focus now is going to shift from those two alphas, which has been for the last 6 months. We're going to shift now to finishing Ordinum into beta. That's on track for July. Finishing Starvin Martian into a limited beta, which means we've only got 20 levels, but you'll be able to play from 0 through to 20 with Starvin Martian and get a feel for it and what it actually feels like to play that game. So from there, we're going to actually build those games right out and bring the NFTs into them and start the actual Web3 component where you can actually earn money in those games. And I believe that will all be starting to look like it's happening by the end of this year, before the actual banana zone starts. So we're going to have 5 games all actually working and playable that people are going to be able to test and see. And they're not little tiny games that have no value. These are actual PC games that we can keep iterating on, keep growing, keep putting time and effort into. So we're in a really good position. And then what we're going to do is, after War of Steel goes into alpha, the Unreal team is heading across to Nexus, and we're going to give Nexus a long overdue update. And we're going to balance out all the guns properly and get this game ready. We're probably going to have a look at the map as well, upgrade the map. We've got some ideas I'm not going to talk about what we're going to do with Nexus, but they're pretty exciting. And our goal with this is to get ready for our marketing push at the end of the year. And one of the ideas we've got for marketing is we're going to be doing a $1 million US dollar competition for Nexus, like an actual season that teams can compete for. And the top teams end up going to like a 5-team playoff. One of those 5 teams will win the main prize, and there'll be $1 million prize money across all 5 teams. So it's going to be a media frenzy type thing. It's a way to get playable games out to the wider world, and it's really newsworthy stuff. So Nexus is the first game we're going to do that with. War of Steel will be the second game we do that with. So both those games are going to be high value for the top 5 teams that get up into that category. We'll get it, so there'll be like a playoffs, and there'll be 5 teams that actually go to a final set of playoffs. And that will be, we'll actually do that on land, so there can be no cheating, and those 5 teams will actually be competing for the money. So that's what we've got in store for Nexus, and it's going to be really high quality by the end of this year. And again, all of this is ticking into what our main desire is. We want to time this for as the market comes into its frenzy. If you remember back to February 2022, that was when we launched Playable Games, and we launched into this absolute frenzy of the NFT market was just closing out and gaming projects were taking off, and basically everything was going up with the tide of crypto, and everyone was really excited. We want to land right in the middle of that with all of our games ready to play, and people able to see exactly what we can do. All right, so now I want to talk about what gaming looks like and what Playable Games is doing. So this is PC gaming and mobile gaming as we see it right now. We're after players when you're building a company, one of the things you do is you decide on what you actually want to achieve and what your niche is. So our niche is PC gamers, and they're PC gamers that play for 10 hours a week or more. Now in the world right now, there's 619 million of them, and they have two things that we are interested in. One is they play 10 hours a week or more, and two, they have a good gaming PC. So they don't have a piece of shit that is just a get-by machine. They have a proper gaming PC that can play all the top games. There's 619 million of them. And if you remember what Playable Games' goal is, our goal is to find 1 million players who want to earn money in games. They want to be part of an ecosystem where they can actually play games and be part of it. That's what we're trying to do. Now, Starvin' Martian's also being built for mobile games, and there's 405 million mobile gamers that play 10 hours or more on their mobile phone. So there's actually 2 billion mobile gamers, but the ones I'm interested in are the ones that play 10 hours or more. If you look at Steam, there's 1,200 plus games a month, brand new games released onto Steam. 1,200 a month. And onto mobile, there's over 3,600 games a month released onto mobile, iOS and Android. And consoles, there's not very many at all. So when you've got 1,200 games a month coming out, there's a massive problem. And that is, can you actually get traction? Can you get people to see your game? Can you get people to understand that you're actually doing something? And the answer to that is, it's really, really hard, because we live in an attention deficit society. It's very hard to get people to concentrate for longer than a couple of seconds, hence TikTok's rise to fame. And it's very hard to get people to do any sort of real decent research. What we have going for us is that when the crypto market explodes at the end of this year, there are going to be a very large cohort of investors who are going to be looking to find something to invest in that's not Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is going to be too expensive for them, and it's not going to be one of the top 5 or 6 altcoins. They're going to be looking for something that's going to have a much more upside. They're going to want something that's got a 50x, 100x, even 1,000x in it. And the trouble with those coins is when you find those coins, they're almost always just total guesswork because they've got nothing substantial. We actually have something substantial to offer. We're going to be able to show them. And when it comes to gamers, we're going to have games that they can actually come to, and they're going to be able to earn money in it. And that's going to be our point of difference to these normal Steam games. We're going to be one of the few games that are building a proper PC game, not a clicker, not a normal Web3 game that's just very shallow. We're building out proper games, and you're going to be able to earn in them. So we're going to get a chance to actually get into one of these categories. Now, reaching a nightly peak of 100,000 players is extraordinarily hard. And in Steam last year, only 23 titles achieved it. So that's 0.15% of games, ever reach 100,000, That's 0.15% of releases on Steam that ever get to 100,000 concurrent nightly players. Now we've got a plan, and our plan is very simple. So there's so many games coming out. Discovery is the paramount challenge. There's a lot of players out there, but there's also a lot of games. All right, and PC gamers, they demand deep and persistent experiences. If you want to capture their attention, you've got to give them something that captures their attention. So building short-lived games is not the answer. There's crypto companies out there that are building games that are just easy little short games. That's not going to capture the normal gamer. You've got to do better than that. Now, the good news is that success is multifaceted. So beyond just getting a rare blockbuster hit, which is a 0.15% chance, all right, we do have another opportunity, and that is to build out our community. And as we build our community out to 100,000 people, 500,000 people, 1 million people, we get those people to keep rotating through our games and keep spending money in our games. And this gives us a much bigger chance of getting to that 100,000 nightly players and to our $1 million earning capacity in a game. So our model is not to try and make a blockbuster, but to have a suite of games that are all good. And that's going to actually help us achieve our actual goal. The good news is that larger budgets don't always correlate with higher revenues. All right, it's actually player satisfaction, and the breakout success depends heavily on how good the game is, not just on how much you spend on it. The failure to gain traction is the norm for most new games. So when you see a new game come out and they go, we're the greatest game ever and we're going to be, it has nothing to do with it. No one can actually tell you whether that game's going to be successful. It's whether you can stay long enough to adjust the game and find an audience. That's the name of the game. And that's the game we're playing at Playable. We're actually trying to make sure we get there. And with our crypto backing, we have the best chance of actually making it. So we're going to give them incentives to play our games. And those incentives are going to drive players. Now, one of the things we've done is we've not been actually getting players to come to Playable purely because the games weren't ready. And we know that. We actually know that our games weren't ready. So we're making sure that we're putting the right pieces in place to achieve the goals along the way. And you've really just got to understand that this is a marathon. All right, this is not a sprint. A lot of people think we're in a sprint. We are not in a sprint. This is a 6-month voyage at sea. There's a lot of planning gone into it. We've got a route that we're following, and we are at the pleasure of the weather. Like, we can only work on certain things that the weather allows us to do. So putting the weather aside, we're on track to making it to our destination. I believe we're going to do it. So I'm going to ask you to hang in there. I think that we're in a really good position, and I think that Playable Games is actually going to make it. When I say I think, I know we're going to make it to November, December this year when the market takes off. And better than making it to that point, I know that when we get to the banana zone where money is just pouring in from retail and they're looking for the right project, our project ticks all the boxes they're looking for. We've got a good senior team. We've been in business since February 2022. We've been through a bear market. We're funded. We have games to prove we know we can build games. Those games are going to grow over time, and it's going to build up our utility, which spends our coin. People are going to have to use Bullcoin to actually buy the parts of the game to keep playing the game. When they want to mint an NFT, they're going to be able to use Bullcoin to mint an NFT. When they want to purchase speed packs, so they want to actually get faster and not have to grind so much in Dogs of War, they're going to be able to purchase things in the marketplace with Bullcoin. We're going to build this utility up. It's going to get higher and higher over the years. And as we get to near the end of the 10 years, the ecosystem will be built where there's more Bullcoin being used each day than there is available. And of course, that's going to help us long term with our Bullcoin price. I'm looking at Bitcoin out of the side of my eye. It's looking very strong. I know what we've got planned for the rest of this year and what we're building, and I know it's going to be a really successful end of the year. I want to thank you for your support. I want to thank all our teams that are working on the different games we're building, and the team that works in the background, our Web3 team and our marketing team. And I just want to thank you for being part of Playable. It means a lot to me. And I really appreciate you being here. Thank you, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.